Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Let's Talk About It, a bi-weekly discussion presented by the Closed Private Investment Network, where we talk about a different topic and how it affects the Black community economically. And so today, we have the pleasure of having a presentation and a discussion led by Mark Armstrong, who's the president of the No Backboard Basketball League. He's also a CPEN member, and he's going to be leading our discussion about participation versus ownership when it comes to this digital economy. But first and foremost, they have changed the layout here. Oh, here we go. Um, let's start with the disclaimer. And so, information provided in discussion is strictly for educational purposes only. We strongly encourage everyone to consult with licensed financial advisors, attorneys, and tax professionals before making any significant financial decisions. And though I do have decades of experience, and so does Mark, neither one of us are licensed or registered with any regulatory authority. And next, we will have, let me find it. Here we go. Have our short introductory video on today's topic.
So today, we're unpacking a big idea from Mark Armstrong: participation versus actual ownership. Okay, so what are we really talking about here? It's all about value, contribution, and control.
And this isn't a new problem. The model we see everywhere today, it's 400 years old.
Yeah, it goes all the way back to things like the Dutch East India Company, the original mega corporation. Now, tons of people chipped in money, but only a handful at the top called all the shots. And that right there is the key idea. Just because you participate doesn't mean you have control. So get this same exact model, it's what powers all the social media giants today. Here's the deal. Users like you and me create all the value, but the platforms own everything. And man, this is a huge pain point, especially for creators who rely on these platforms to live. Basically, you're building on rented land. You don't own your audience. You're just building someone else's asset. So, is there a better way? Let's look at a new model where work and wealth actually line up. Check out this amazing historical example: the Freedom Quilting Bee, a co-op of Black artisans in Alabama. They pooled their work, cut out the middleman, and shared in the profits they generated together. See how the idea is flipped on its head? Here, participation was directly tied to ownership. So real ownership means your contribution gets you agency, both a piece of the upside and a say. And this brings us back to Mark Armstrong's idea: the No Backboard Basketball League. It's all about rethinking what a sports league is, creating a path from just playing to actually owning. In this system, athletes build their own brands and coaches turn their expertise into a business. Creators own their media, and get this, even fans can invest and share in the league's success. The whole model is super simple. If you help create the value, you get to own a piece of it. This is a huge, huge shift. For centuries, participation only made the people at the top richer. But now, like we've seen, that old way of doing things is finally starting to change. So it leaves you wondering, if the old model lasted 400 years, what will this new one build?
All right. And so now we will, and before we go on to the presentation, I do want to make a note that we're trying something different. This is the first discussion in a five series or 5 episode series discussion about this topic. So we're going to take deep dives over the next 4 sessions. And those 4 sessions are going to happen on the next Mondays and Wednesdays. And in case you haven't um, signed up for that discussion, I will put a link in the chat um, to that specific discussion. And let me do that now. And I think that it is this one. Okay. So that link is in the chat now. And with that, I will hand it off to Mark Armstrong to the
Excellent. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yep, we can hear you.
All right, you're driving, considering the adjustment we made. So
Yep.
All right. So first of all, I want to thank Mike and the CPIN team for their ongoing support with the No Backboard Basketball League. I'm a firm believer in what CPIN is building and looking forward to driving the growth of CPIN as well as with the No Backboard Basketball League. So let's go ahead and jump in this. I have a prepared presentation. Should take us about 15 minutes to get through. Mike's going to handle the slides and we'll go from there. So before we talk about platforms, before we talk about basketball, before we talk about ownership, we have to go back to the foundation of the system that we're all living in, right? And most people never stop to question how this thing all works. And if we don't understand the system, we risk becoming a part of it without realizing. So as the introduction alluded to, in 1962, we have the Dutch East India Company, which changed business forever. It became the first joint stock company. So merchants, governments, and ordinary everyday people pooled their money to fund a massive trade fleet. Now, this unlocked unprecedented scale, ships carrying spices, silk, luxury goods across the ocean. It even fielded a private army to be able to protect their trading posts and their shipments through the seas. Thousands of people became shareholders, but the day-to-day power stayed with a small board of directors. The company now, it lasted over 200 years, and it helped create the early stock markets and the trading exchanges we have today. So in other words, you had broad participation, but you had very narrow control. So we have to remember, participation alone does not mean ownership or influence over decisions. So when we take a different look at the same concept, we fast forward to the 1960s in Alabama, a very different context. Yes, segregation, poverty defined the rural South, but one group of women saw an opportunity in their tradition, and they formed the Freedom Quilting Bee in 1966, 60 years ago. These Black women pooled their labor skills to make quilts together. They organized a cooperative. Work, profits, and decisions were shared. They connected to markets all the way to New York City, and that money began to flow back into the community. And families bought land, and that gave them stability. So here, the same concept of pooling resources together led to empowerment. Participation plus ownership was aligned, and the whole community benefited. It turned quilting into an engine of economic independence. So when we fast forward to today with our modern platforms, these lessons are still present. These social platforms are built entirely on user contributions. Athletes, creators, everyday people produce photos, videos, and content. And this content fuels engagement and ad revenue. Essentially, that's the platform. That's these platforms' lifeblood. They provide, we provide the fuel, the platform provides the engine and the stage, and the result, you create value, but the platform captures the upside. You're building their growth, and they're building their, and we're building their valuation. So what do the platforms actually control? The algorithms dictate what content is seen. Platform owns the user data, the distribution, the monetization. They set the rules for visibility and earnings. If the algorithm changes, your content can vanish overnight. I've experienced this. If policies change, your income can be cut off without warning, and you have no vote in these decisions. These platforms hold all the power over your results. So these creators live on a moving target, if you can imagine it, right? You spend months planning content strategies, and then one tweak kills your audience. Last year, a popular YouTuber creator lost half of his views after one recommended update. When Instagram switched from chronological to an algorithmic feed, many influencers saw engagement drop by tens of percent. And on TikTok, the For You page grants viral frame, which can blow you up, or the next day, the same exact video can result in significantly fewer views. You never know what the algorithm's going to do next. So the rules of these platforms are vague. The enforcement is very unpredictable. YouTube videos can be demonetized or age restricted overnight for borderline content. Instagram or TikTok can remove posts for policies that may not even exist. And creators report shadow bans where the content stops appearing in Explorer pages. I've experienced that as well. So accounts can get suspended without clear cause, and sometimes for posts that are years old. Even top creators live in fear of their content vanishing. In these centralized systems, the oversight of the platform is controlled. So how much do we really earn from the content, right? YouTube provides 55% of ad revenue to creators. Facebook, Instagram share almost no ad revenue directly. And TikTok has live stream gifts and some brand deals, but its payout structure is opaque. Most creators end up relying on sponsorships and external sales to make any significant money. If you don't own part of the platform, you only earn as long as you stay active. The platforms make the lion's share of the value. And even if the platform value soars, you don't benefit on any of that increase in revenue or value. So another pain point is just getting discovered. Getting discovered is an algorithmic game of whack-a-mole. Even if you do go viral, sustaining your audience is a challenge. To reach followers, you must tick all the boxes on their list. One misstep, one wrong hashtag, one outdated format, and you're lost. It's like renting a stage from a landlord who changes the lock anytime they want to. And your audience isn't yours. It's at the mercy of the platform's algorithm. So the core truth, after all of this, here's the reality. Participation does not mean ownership. You're not a customer, the advertisers are. You are the product. Your data, your attention, your content are what the platforms monetize. Growth and income depends upon someone else's rules and algorithms. And if you want a different outcome, something fundamental has to change. And we see this shift now with Fanbase and Isaac Hayes Jr. Isaac Hayes III, grew up in a family of creators. His father was Isaac Hayes, legendary musician with multiple Grammys. Hayes III has worked in tech and marketing, and he saw how creators were getting trapped under current platforms. So he founded Fanbase with a clear goal to give creators more power over monetization. His vision was to put control back in the hands of the users, not just the platform. Launched in 2020, athletes, artists, and influencers are trying the model. And this Fanbase model is based on giving creators tools to monetize directly. Creators can set subscription tiers, fans pay monthly for exclusive content, they can host pay-per-view streams, and even charge for premium videos. Fans can send tips during live sessions to directly support creators. And crucially, Fanbase has experimented with equity crowdfunding under SEC rules. This means Fanbase is selling equity directly to users of the platform. In short, it moves revenue from platform ad-directed model to a participation co-ownership model. But if we're honest about the scale, Fanbase is still small compared to the giants like TikTok and YouTube. It's a centralized platform on its own terms, so it's not a complete decentralization. But for now, it's more of a proof of concept of what creator-owned economics looks like. And it shows fans and creators that there's a way to build out and invest in yourself. But true ownership remains moving from the platform. And before we talk about the No Backboard Basketball League, let's talk about leagues in general, because they've been doing the same thing for decades. Think about the professional sports leagues. They're centralized organizations controlling teams, schedules, and money. Leagues negotiate billion-dollar broadcast deals and decide how that revenue is split. Athletes generate the entertainment. The league captures the financial benefit and upside. Even the biggest stars rely on the share of the league's profits. Leagues protect their interests of owners and executives, not the participants. So this creates a tension between the athlete and the league. Picture a league built the opposite way. Today, players can make millions in salaries, but they don't own the team they play for. Superstars boost the league's popularity, but share little in the long-term growth. They follow rules, they get bonuses for championships, but have no equity stake. Team owners and league executives make all the decisions and set the policy. A player might be the face of a franchise, but essentially he's a renter in their system. Contribution, not ownership, defines his role. So when we look at the famous story of Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, aka Chris Jackson from LSU, it highlights this dynamic. In 1995, as a Denver Nugget, he refused to stand for the national anthem. The NBA responded immediately, suspended him for one game. He was told to stand or sit out. He compromised. He kneeled and bowed his head, but the damage was already done. He missed games and lost endorsements. And by 1996, at 26-year-old, he was out of the NBA. His talent had not vanished, but the league's decision ended his career. The league's power overrode his performance. And if we fast forward that to Kyrie Irving, who's one of the NBA's biggest stars and an NBA champion and all-star, in 2021, he posted a controversial video and refused to take follow the league's vaccine mandate. The NBA fined him, and effectively, he sat out games despite his talent. His team enforced the rules. He missed 30 games that season, and these actions have directly impacted his career and his earning potential. Even after clarifying his intent, the league still stood in opposition. By 2022, under pressure, he was traded. And despite being a superstar, this has dramatically impacted his trajectory. His faith, though, regardless how talented he was, still rested in the league and its owner. Now, let's lay out the framework we're talking about now. Think of ownership as a spectrum. On one end, you have pure participation. You work, you contribute, but you take no stake or control. On the other end, you have full ownership. You help make decisions, you share in the profits. Most systems today give you a choice, but rarely do you get to do both. We break it down into two dimensions. You have the economic upside. Do you benefit when the whole system grows? And you have decision influence. Do you have any say in how things work? Traditional jobs, social platforms usually give you wages, but no equity. Founders or shareholders get both. Why can't creators and athletes have more of the latter? Participate more in the ownership and decision. The economic upside, if the system doubles in value, do your earnings double in value? Decision influence means if you have an idea to improve things, do you get to vote on it? In most scenarios, workers, creators get a fixed payment and the owner gets the extra profits. For example, a YouTube star earns ad revenue today, but if YouTube market cap triples, she or he sees none of that increase. We're pointing out the imbalance that the No Backboard Basketball League aims to address and correct. So let's redefine the word league. What a league really is a coordinated network of participants under shared rules. It decides everything from game schedule to revenue splits. Traditional leagues decide how to allocate TV, sponsorship revenue, where games are held, who enforces the rules. They create value through competition, and then they capture that value through selling rights and merchandise. In short, the league determines who participates, who owns the outcome. We aim to redefine that equation. So the real question is, every system ultimately asks, who participates, who benefits? Historically, the answer has been many participate, few benefit in the long run. Players and creators contribute to time and talent. Owners and executives reap the gains. We challenge that. And why shouldn't participation also equate to ownership? So the No Backboard Basketball League, this is our answer. The NBBL is not just a sports league, it is an ownership-driven ecosystem. From day one, I designed this so that those who contributed would also share in the success. Players, coaches, creators, fans, all have a path to participate in ownership. When the league does well, we all do well. It's a blueprint for a participatory economy in sports and media. And we're able to express this through our different personas. So our athlete persona. Players do more than just play. They help own the game. Athletes can build their brand and capture value from it. Earn money from games, plus share media and sponsorship deals and value that's generated. For example, if a player's highlight reel goes viral, that player will earn from that. Players might even hold equity in a team or league ventures in the area. As the league and the brand grows, the player's stake increases. What about coaches and trainers? They can invest in talent development. In the NBL, that effort pays off directly. A coach who develops a star player can share in that player's success. A league could sell training content caps with revenue split among the coaches and leagues. Coaches can even own or start their own NBBL academies and programs. They profit from every athlete they help to elevate. What about creators? We are in the creators economy, and content creators will help amplify the league's reach. NBL partners will partner with creators to capture games, interviews behind the scenes. These creators can monetize the media they produce. That might get revenue shares or tokens based on content views. The league, we can license creators as official media partners with equity options. And the creators help craft the narrative and share in the success. And finally, and maybe most importantly, the fan. The fan can become a stakeholder, not just a spectator. So the NBBL, we're offered tokens, we're offered share, we're offered opportunities for fans to be able to become investors. Maybe buy into a team, buy into a gym, buy into local activities. That gives them the power to vote and actually influence the NBBL in their area. When the league's value rises, everybody rises. The fans, the investors, the coaches, athletes, all share in the growth. And this turns fandom into ownership. In the NBA, in the No Backboard Basketball, participation is a path to ownership. Every basket score, every practice attended, every post contributes to collective equity. Contributions can be tracked and rewarded. If we build the league this way, then we all can share in the success. And this is the opposite from renting from a monopoly. When we earn a stake in everything we create. So as I land the plane, keep in mind, for centuries, the systems has invited participation without ownership. That era is ending. People are waking up to new economic models. People are starting to demand their share of the value they create. And the question is no longer, can I just participate? It's, what will I own? And in this era, participation comes with equity. The NBBL, No Backboard Basketball League, is a step toward a future where creators and athletes just don't build it, They actually own it. So what do you actually own? That's the question of our time. Start thinking differently. This is the question that will define the next generation. Ownership, just not participation. We believe that's truly the currency of the future. Plane landed.
Thank you, Mark, for that great presentation and overview of the topic, participation versus ownership, and what it looks like in the digital economy. And just remember, this is just the first discussion out of 5. The next 4 will take place on the upcoming Monday and Wednesdays, in which we will delve deeper into what is CPEN's role in creating these types of shared digital platforms where participants can also become owners. And then we will also, after the series is completed, we will have a session just for CPEN members in which we'll talk about the investment opportunity. So if you want to hear about how you can become an investor in the No Backboard Basketball League, you need to join CPEN, become a member, and then be on the lookout for when we'll have that discussion specifically for CPEN members. I've put in the chat the link to our website. And with that, I will now open up the floor to questions and comments. What do you guys think about this topic? Timothy and Leroy, you
Uh,
guys are the 2 only real people. Everybody else is AI assistants. What did you think of the topic? Go ahead, Leroy.
I'm happy to be a real person here. This is great. That was a
it,
great presentation, Mark. I'll tell you, you
thank
laid
you.
it out and made it very, very clear. Um, I'm thinking about many, many contributions that I am making as a participant at this time. And I mean big, big, big contributions, but I'm not getting the monetary return
Oh,
from it. And I mean, I've developed libraries on top of libraries
Mm.
daily. So, looking at this model, and you mentioned that you will have a series of others. The No Backboard Basketball League ownership, drive, and aligning value creation directly with value. Anyway, I've got that. So, in other words, if I am understanding it, and I want to make sure that I do, this is a platform.
Yes, our
Uh,
vision. Yes,
Go ahead.
yes, it is. It is ultimately a platform. What we envision is actually creating an ecosystem like an Apple, maybe like a Tesla, an ecosystem where the people within it that are participating, either as athletes, coaches, creators, or even fans, can participate in the overall value. And it'd be based upon leveraging an Internet of Things. So our portable U-Hoop combined with an app that allows now the each person to be their own node, if you would, so they can capture content, then upload it into our platform, our content hub, where now we're able to monetize that content. And it is supported by physical facilities. So we have a distributed network of individuals leveraging our portable hoops, however they want to do that. And then each community will eventually be anchored by a physical facility. And then we wrap that around with the appropriate technology. At some point in the future, once we begin scaling, we will wrap in the blockchain technology that really allows us to provide ownership in a substantial, trackable, fractionalized way that allows athletes to carry their value throughout their years with us and allow people to get in and out of the ecosystem when they want to participate and when they're ready to transition potentially out of the ecosystem.
So let me just follow up very quickly, and then I'm sure that Timothy has a lot of have some great input as always. So this is content creation on the platform, and that which we contribute, dealing specifically with backboard basketball. How many different components of different things can be a part of this? I'm still trying to put the vision in my head.
Absolutely. So let's start with the foundation and our two primary theses, right? So from a basketball standpoint, we play with no backboard, smaller hoop, 16 inches instead of 18 inches. We play in a more compressed environment, smaller court, fewer players. This environment has been validated by players as enhancing their skill development. I can send you videos of people who've come play a few sessions with us, then went back and played traditional basketball with a backboard and a bigger rim. And their response is, I've never shot the ball like that before. So our core value proposition to the American basketball families is an alternative enhanced skill development environment. We call it the futsal of basketball. Futsal is a small-sided soccer sport over 100 years old that is credited by more than 24 world-class Hall of Fame soccer players as their foundation. We believe we can model that for basketball in the United States. The value-added thesis from there is that if you're familiar with William C. Rhoden's work, The $40 Million Slave, there's a pattern in the history of the African American in sports in the United States. And that pattern is they dominate a particular sport. They change once the value of that sport is realized, it's now mainstream. They transition away from the African American athlete, and it continues to go on. They've done it in horse racing, they've done it in cycling, we've seen it in the Negro leagues, and now we're seeing it in basketball. It's a revelation I received over almost 30 years ago, and this is why I've been building for this moment. Now we're at the first time in a long time that we have fewer Black college athletes playing D1 basketball than we've had in 30 years. And that number is declining. And it's more egregious for the women. So historically, when we understand how sports and basketball has provided a bridge from lower middle class to impoverished to education and did a better life, that bridge has been severed by the dismantling of the urban grassroots model that produced our first 50 greatest NBA basketball players, and is being replaced with an elite tier development model that's being Europeanized and designed for a global marketplace, while they have converted youth and grassroots sports into a value extraction with private equity coming in over the past decade or so, rolling things up and increasing the cost, right? So there are many NBA players today who have said on record, if I was a youth today in our family's economic condition back then, I would not be playing sports today. So considering basketball's $300 plus billion space, considering how large and dynamic it is, and it's still growing globally, but the African American market share is shrinking in absolute terms. I believe there's an opportunity to provide an alternative to address this gap that's been created, provide a service now that not only can serve this population that's being ignored, but we're also at a time where now we can turn their expense into equity. We can get them business skills training in this modern sports space, NIL, the paying kids, that's getting pushed down to the middle age, that we can create a system where we're able to get them before that time, develop them, get their heads right, get their life skills right, get their financial skills right. And then ideally, as they elevate, they have an option to enter the global basketball marketplace, college, et cetera. Or we envision at some point that this will evolve into our own standalone sport that can have that our entire ecosystem can have a market cap of over $1 billion. And the numbers support that with less than 2% of the current basketball market in the United States. So there's many components, there's equipment, there's facilities, there's technology, sponsorship, ad, merch. It's a complete ecosystem and a platform where ultimately, I say this loosely, there's an unlimited number of ways for people to be able to get into the space and monetize at the level that their energy and effort can drive the results they want. So hopefully that gives you some insight.
You did, and I remember earlier the last year there was a white paper I think you had developed, and that sort of explained this after you had gotten off. I need to go back and look at that again.
Yes, that was our white paper for our vision for the blockchain project. And that still is on the what we're moving towards. Our current project introduces the Internet of Things, our YooHoo, the app, we call it the Play Center. But we've kept the whole blockchain piece out because we want to focus on developing user behavior, validating user behavior, validating the value of our content at scale in the marketplace, build audience, and then slowly introduce that type of technology in a way that is almost seamless to the end users.
Thank you, Mark. And thanks, Leroy, for the questions and comments. Timothy, what about you? Got anything to say? Timothy, are you here with us? He may have stepped away.
Let me, if I can, let me add.
I'm back.
Oh,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to add. I was going to just add some context. Yesterday, Tracy McGrady announced he received, I believe it's $7 million in funding to relaunch a franchise called the Ones Basketball League. And my response to that was that's just confirmation that the post-pandemic basketball market is fragmented. And it validates a thesis I've had for over 20 years is basketball is so large and so dynamic, it can support multiple styles and versions of the game, right? And the reason why did Tracy McGrady get that funding? Because his one basketball league is a one-on-one basketball competition. Because there's a product out there called Next Chapter 22 that is also a one-on-one brand. And last year exploded. It went viral. And it's primarily a social media and pay-per-view model. So they hype up these one-on-one competitions, almost like boxing, UFC. They hype it up through social media, and then they drive it to a pay-per-view event. They killed it last year. That validated for the market, if you would, for Tracy McGrady's one-on-one. So now there's two one-on-ones. We have Ice Cube's 3-on-3. FIBA's been running a global 3-on-3 ecosystem for years that pays out $5 million in total prize money globally. You have the Women's League Unrivals, which is just wrapped. Are they in it? They're in it, or they just wrapped up their second season, which is a 3-on-3, small-sided on a small court, almost the same dimensions as our court, but with backboard, with women playing 3-on-3. And there's a list of other non-NBA basketball franchises out there that's driving the market. So so now the jump from 3-on-3, no backboards, the jump from one-on-one to no backboards is very small. And then when you combine, last year we drove over 5 million social media views and tens of thousands engagements with no ad spend last year. I didn't spend a single cent last year for any social media exposure. So all the tea leaves point that this is the right time, and more importantly, that we can create a category. And that's really the play. The play isn't competing against the NBA. We're not trying to compete with the NBA. We're not even trying to compete with regular basketball. What we're saying is there's over 30 million people that play basketball. There's 3.3 billion global basketball fans. It's obvious they got an appetite for the sport year round. And the legacy of basketball is the peach basket. And here is the peach basket and the milk crate. So there's enough his historical culture, enough market signals that suggest there's an opportunity to carve out a nice little niche category in this $300+ billion space, where if we just capture a couple of percentage points, it's $1 billion market cap, and we can feed people and enhance people on their path to pursue their hoop dreams, be it on or off the court. So thank you, Timothy, for letting me get that in.
And how much capital have you raised to date?
I haven't raised, outside of family and myself, I haven't raised any outside capital. Within the past couple of years, the past 2 years, I have put in about 75,000 the past 2 years to past 3 years, excuse me, since 2022, past 3 years.
And how much money do you need?
That's a great question. For our category dominating model, we need 2 million and that would cover our launch and the build out of that would cover the launch, that would cover the development of our place in the platform, and that would get us into the development of a regional cluster of rent and renovate showcase gyms, which would be 4 of them: Phoenix, Vegas, Tucson, Riverside, all of which can be driven to within 5 hours of each other. So that's very intentional. So that's the 2 million raised. And with just me, me and Mike are drafting a convertible note for. I raised the number, Mike. Something came to me in my sleep last night, so I haven't shared this with you. But $325,000, and what that will do is that will drive the production of our first No Backboard Basketball made for content in high school NIL circuit this summer and fall. And the end result of that will be the production of what we got, 360 games with 360 small side games, 2,000 clips, 52 hours of total content. All of that would be monetized through social media and pay-per-view while we're running the series, which would be the season is 4 circuits. Each circuit is 3 circuits. Each circuit is 4 weeks. It's a total of 12 weeks. 12 weeks of once a week events, production, and that will drive. At the end of that, we will take that content. Each one of those circuits will generate an evergreen asset in a mixtape, a la and one for post-event pay-per-view to eventually download on Amazon, and then the rest of the content would be used to establish our OTT and fast channel through a partnership with a company that's called Big B AI. And just for Big B AI is an AI-enabled media streaming platform, which is going to be plugged in on the back end of the circuit I'm talking about. So we'll have AI optimizing everything on a daily basis, from fan engagement, empowering our athletes who would be affiliates, helping them compound reach, our marketing, our e-commerce, and then taking that data in and then constantly tweaking it. So immediately, best case scenario, if God was to bless me, $325,000 would get us in the game. We believe we'll be able to pay that back before the start of the 3rd circuit. So that means have that thing paid back within 12 months, best case scenario, but it's a 24 note. And then we're in the game after that. And like I've shared with Mike overall, it's like we just need, I don't think I'm delusional confident, right? Some founders can be delusional confident. I don't think I'm delusional confident. I think the resistance I felt is this is it. And because the market realizes that what I'm doing is extremely disruptive and different, there's just that incumbent dismissiveness at this stage. You know, I know people are watching, just trying to see if you can execute. And the other side of it is that how come no one has really jumped in? I think if someone else jumped in and it was known in the market, I win too. Because now the market just validated at us and I already got a plan. At that point, we become even more attractive with capital because we got a 20-year plan.
So let me, if you don't mind, just because I'm not that complex on this.
Yeah.
Let me just take the basics. One of the things I had in my venture capital course at Harvard B School, he said, if you want to be successful, find the success that you want to be like, make it a cookie cutter, And if they make a vanilla cookie, I asked him, I said, well, most of them are going to be white. He said, so they make a vanilla cookie. You can make a cookie with chocolate chips. Just use that
Mhm.
cookie cutter and be exactly as they are in every kind of way, with your particular niche involved in it, and you can make it work. So, have you found a cookie cutter that you're trying to be like?
I would say the closest cookie cutter would be a blend between Ball is Life and Overtime Elite. Ball is Life is both Ball and Life and Overtime Elite. Well, let's start with Ball is Life and Overtime are both basketball related. They started off as street ball high school basketball platforms, and they was able to scale the monetization through creating an app and letting the app, to our point, letting athletes upload their content to the website for exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And they got enough people to upload it that they built multi-million-dollar brands tracking high school and street ball athletes. And then they would combine that with some professional produced content. So our motto, our U-Hoop with the app empowers to upload the grassroots, anchored with our showcase gym that allows multiple things, but the three things it allows amplification of the sport of those athletes so they can come in. It allows the production of top tier media content as a standard. So we have professional grade, and then we got our grassroots. And then it also allows the ongoing marketing of our U-Hoop equipment. Overtime Elite did the same thing, but what they did is once they scaled, they flipped that with investments from Kevin Durant, Drake, Jeff Bezos into Overtime Elite, which is the first high school professional product in the United States. It's been operating about 4 years. They have a large single facility in Atlanta that serves both as their arena and training facility there. And they run high-level production leagues, seasons out of that facility. So we're
So these groups,
Mhm.
both of these cookie cutters, I hear you, and it's good, and you understand their history. How much money have they made, or are they making?
So Overtime Elite, last time the valuation a couple of years ago was a half billion dollars, $500 million. I think Ball is Life is more niche. I'm not sure what the valuation is. The last time I really looked at, and the reason that is because there's some like you have Next Chapter, which I think is the next launch of that, but that's more street ball. There's another brand out there called Brody, which is it's a recreational basketball product that's a nationwide, but they haven't leaned into the content piece heavy yet. But I think the last time is Baller's Life was at $10 million a year, but they've been around almost for 2 decades now. And then you have several smaller versions of these in their own little niches, right? So if Overtime Elite, I think is a great motto because it is at a $500 million. I'm confident that in the next 10 years, it'll be worth $1 billion. And I'm not sure what their expansion model is going to be, but I know it's in there somewhere.
So now, each one of these groups that you're talking about, they built their board of directors out and so forth, and they have a chief storyteller. You're a great storyteller. You know the story better than anybody. So have you built your board of directors out?
No. So we're at the point where, we're still looking for that type of leadership. Not overly aggressive, not only because our experience has been people want to see, they want to wait and see. So no, I haven't aggressively built that out at this point. Our thought has been when we get this first phase executed, we become far more attractive to people.
It ain't the deal. Never. It's the person. You know what you're doing. You got this in your soul. You see it as your calling. So when you so the people that you want with you to go with you, you need to have this board of directors. They need to be made of people that either have money, can have access to money, or have ideas that make money, and they're all committed to you, and you're using their imprimatur and expertise to expel you, to expand you.
Agreed.
I wouldn't take on any project whatsoever without looking into. They also taught me in that venture capital class. What are the 5 rules of venture capital in the company? Management, market. You already know your market, but the management part is you own this on your own. You can't go solo. You can't become a big success by yourself. Nobody can. Nobody can,
Agreed.
right? I mean, unless you're going to be a different profession like a lawyer, and even then you can't do it by yourself. So I'm just saying, I would go and see who you can go through and find other people who can lead you to people who can be your directors, board of directors. And it's a hard process. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Trust me. I've been going through all kinds of things. I just went through a situation where someone I chose for a board member, and he was really good, but he flipped out on something. And I was like, wait a minute, you flipping out on me without even talking to me. He's talking to other board members like, well, we got to do this and do that. Rather than understanding any aspect of this particular acquisition I'm trying to do. And so I'm cool, but one of the other board members said, he said, listen, I've known you for 15 years. I would never talk to you like that. And that young man spoke like that to you and wrote that email. How come you don't get rid of him? I said, he's gone. Well, just wait. But I got to replace him with somebody. And I had to go through and look for that. And it's not easy. Like, for example, I've been trying to find some strong Black women who have backgrounds in STEM. They're out there, but I need someone to have the PhD in STEMs, and I ran across some of them, but nope, can't get them to do anything. They got their own minds. They're going where they're going. They're very high demand, but nevertheless, you need a good board of directors whose ideas will make money, whose contacts will bring you money, or who have money. It gives you more credibility when you step out in the street to try to do more things. When they look up and say, oh, look at this. Okay, your board of directors are these people. They're successful. They wouldn't be joining you. They're good as money, man. I'm telling you, they're good as capital. So ideas are great, but it ain't none of that. I mean, it's all about the entrepreneur and his character and his character and his communication, his commitment. Those things. You're the source. It ain't about. I don't care about it. Could be no basketball today, or it could be I'm going to start a training program. It doesn't matter what it is. You have it. It's you. So if you can get these people, it doesn't take any money to convince people on you, right? So what's the biggest organization you see in America? You see every Sunday, and that's the church. And it's all about one person, one man who ain't none of us ever seen, but he's still convincing you to go along with it, right? So he already showed you he didn't have nothing. So I'm not just a lawyer. I'm an ordained minister. So I'll tell you, if you can look at him, he said, "Follow me." He wasn't just talking about what he did. Look at how he came out of nothing. So we all understand with nothing, but what did he do? He even died with clothes that they had to fight over his clothes. It was so expensive. So I'm encouraging you just to start looking for your board. Other thing is your fail-safe team. Remember, I think I mentioned that to you guys before. F is your financial advisor. That's a commercial, like an investment banker. A is an accountant who understands this. I is an insurance agent who's commercial, understands all your liabilities because a lot are in this game. And L is a lawyer, a transactional lawyer, not just some lawyer who's a lawyer, a transaction-based lawyer. And then you sit with them every week and you just buy them coffee and say, listen, I'm here. I ain't got no money for you, but help me with this idea and let me get it together. And you got Michael, he's your financial guy. He's right there. So you got your F right there. Now you just need your AIL, and you can pull it together. But you do need a board. You got. I mean, I can't emphasize that more. That's your cash. And once you got that board and all the ideas that you have, those are great ideas. But you need a board, and you need somebody who can run the numbers and run the analyses. So, like for example, has somebody already done your SWOT analysis for you? Have you had a SWOT done?
I haven't done it. I've done one in the past. I haven't done one in our recent plan.
So okay, so let me give you these things you're going to have somebody do. You don't have to do them. You get somebody who's a CPA or a person is in business school. You want a SWOT, SOWT. Excuse me,
Familiar.
SWOT. You want a TOWS, TOWS analysis. You want the what they call sometimes PESTEL, PESTEL analysis. I'm saying this so you can get it on the Fireflies to pick it up. And you want Porter's 5 forces. You want to all these analyses on your business plan because you already got all these. You already know, but you want to put them all into a plan and a concept, and get them all laid out so they're in the proper understanding of what you have, and you can convince them. And then once you have that, that's your valuation. That's your internal valuation of your company. That's your trade secret. That has money. That says value. You can get a CPA to value that, and that becomes your capital that you don't have. I'm telling you exactly what I know because I did it, and it will turn into capital. And now you, with that capital, you can go get somebody else to put money in and say, wait a minute, I believe in your idea. I see your team. I know you know your market. Wow, look at this. You got a trade secret about this business that nobody knows. And it's been valued by a third party as worth, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 100 million. Now they said, well, I can put money in because I see you got all this. These are just tools that you can have. And so that's what I would do with it. I don't have to know no basketball. Trust me, no backboard basketball is still strange to me. Okay, because I only know as a kid playing in the streets there was a hoop and that was it, and there was no backboard, so you had to do it. You had to shoot there. But this is a whole different game. It's a whole different level, and I have relatives who understand this because they're in this game like you're doing. So anyway, good luck. I just was gonna say like those are things I suggest you need to have. You need to be able to have your fail-safe team, your board of directors, and then all the analyses about your business. And don't tell anybody about the analysis because that's your trade secret. And that becomes worth money. And money is what you want. Anyway, that's the best I can tell you.
So you played on the milk crate?
Man, I'm a football guy and a track guy. Only thing I ever could do with you basketball players was I was really pretty good with a hook. Because what else you gonna do? You can't do nothing else except hook shot over somebody so tall. I was faster than everybody, but I couldn't do nothing. Because them tall guys be up in there smacking me down. No, I stopped playing basketball. That was never my sport.
I appreciate your input. I do agree. Teamwork makes the dream work. I do agree with that. And I'll pull everything from the notes. Some of those analysis I'm not familiar with. Some of them I am, and we've done in the past. And we'll go from there. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And with AI, you're gonna take all this stuff, and all you gotta do is take your ideas, put them in a strong prompt, take them down to Perplexity is which is one I like to use, or basically take it to Copilot, which is free on Bing at Bing.com. Take it to Copilot, throw it in there, say here's what I'm trying to do. They come up with the plan. You take what it has there and read it, correct it like you want to correct it, and take it and put it over into Perplexity AI and say where's the flaws in this, and ask all the questions you want to ask, and it will produce it for you. Man, I spent the past 3 days doing a takeover a company that none of my people could understand, but me and AI they understood it, and so we got it done. And now tomorrow I'll be making the presentation to a bank that's just right. And the bank will say, "Oh, I like this because it was structured for them. The way the AI helped me structure for them." So that's what I'm saying. When you don't have all the people and staff and all that kind of stuff that you need, AI is your staff.
Oh, absolutely.
That's your staff. So you got it. So like I said, and it's all
Absolutely.
about the prompt.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, one of the reasons since AI, I've always had supreme confidence, but I've stress tested this against AI and multiple different models, and just got done doing some stress testing with Claude. And I don't know if you've used Claude. I'm enjoying Claude as well. So I
Yeah,
agree with you.
that's a good creating product. It creates great agentic solutions.
So no, I'm with you. I'm with you. 100%. AI is we, me and Mike, we run it all through AI to stress test it, look for weaknesses, etc. So good feedback, solid feedback. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Timothy. Leroy, you still have your hand up?
Yes, I'll be real quick. So, Mark, you're still focused on fractional ownership on the blockchain, dealing with a part aspect of it of CPIN, BNIC, building the network. Is that where we're still focused on?
Not so much the blockchain at the moment.
Okay.
We've set that aside. We're looking more to validate user behavior, and our basic thesis for the marketplace that we can put our Internet of Things out into the marketplace. People will use it for training and content creation, uh, and that we can take that content combined with our showcase gym content and actually uh, monetize that and carve out a moat with that community, and then started building and expanding our business from there. So blockchain is part of the long-term vision, but we've decoupled our current efforts from the blockchain piece until we have a stronger community set, active, participating, and then at that point we'll implement that in the back end in some seamless way.
But we will be talking in the next four sessions of this five session series about CPIN, how CPIN is helping to create these types of digital platforms, and how members of CPIN can get in early and participate on a fractionalized basis. So I definitely encourage you to attend the next session, which is on Monday at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And at that session, we'll be delving into what is CPIN's role on creating these type of digital platforms. We are about almost 15 minutes over. And so I want to thank Mark for a great presentation and a great discussion. I want to thank Leroy and Timothy for your questions and your comments. And again, hope to see you guys at the next session on Monday at 6 p.m. And as always, invite a friend, invite another like-minded person who wants to practice cooperative group economics and helping to support the Black community. With that, everybody, stay blessed and have a good night.
Good night.
Amen. Good night, everybody.